All right. So just a quick update on our support numbers for the year so far. So they're not quite 3/4 time update. It's taken us a while to get our reporting together, so let's see how we go. So just a quick refresher. This is how our figures looked at the end of last year. So we had a total of 5,700 tickets, or 5,800 really, across the years, split up into our teams as we had them at the time. This is how we're looking so far this year. So 4,300 so far year to date, split up amongst a bunch of teams that we have. Now the big one to stand out here is in operations. It says there's 1,234 tickets. That's not quite true. That includes all of the tickets that haven't been tagged with a team, of which there's about 1,000. So friendly reminder, make sure you're taking your tickets with teams, please, even if you're just firing off a quick response. Otherwise, they get misassigned and we don't really know who's doing what amount of work. All right. So that brings us to this one. So this is how our tickets are trending month over month. You'll see that we're roughly equivalent with last year until recently. Anyone want to guess what happened in June? Hosted, that's the one. So they've caused us a bit of a spike in tickets, which was expected, and not as horrible as that graph makes it look. So if we move on to tickets per customer, in doing up this slide deck, I found that I was calculating this number wrong last year, so apologies for that. I was counting number of tickets per instance rather than number of tickets per customer. So this is probably a better representation of where we're sitting. And that shows a good trend. Like until hosted launch, we were improving year over year. So having less tickets per customer, which is good. That's what we want to see over time. And I'm sure once hosted beds in, that number will trend down again anyway, to a degree. All right. And this is another one showing our sort of overall trend of how our support tickets are going relative to our customer base. And again, that hosted spike has just pushed us above where we want to be, which is okay. All right, but as part of our revamping of our support ticket numbers, we can actually drill down a bit further now, which is nice. So we can show you, here's all of the teams with their number of tickets per month. Very messy graph, not particularly useful, but the information's there if anybody wants it. This one is very interesting to me. So this is our average initial response time. So the time between a customer sending us a ticket and the first staff response back. So as you can see, I don't have the median, which we'll work on getting, because that's probably a better number to have than just the overall average. But our average response time is pushing close to 48 hours. Now there's some anomalous numbers here. So like, team growth, for example, pushing out over 75. That's a function of they don't have that many tickets. And for a while there, they weren't aware of the tickets we'd assigned them. So they sort of skewed the numbers badly. But even in our normal teams, so you're looking at, cloud execution, hosted integration modeling, all of our sort of run-of-the-mill, all day, every day support tickets, even there, we're pushing just a bit over 25 hours for an average response time to a customer. Again, there'll be some anomalies in there that's pushing it out. So the median would be a better number to show here, but it's the number that I have, and something that we all need to work on. Again, one other thing that pushes this number higher than it should be is we don't have the smarts yet to exclude weekends. But we debate internally whether that's relevant or not, because the customer still has to wait whether we're on our weekend or not. But that's something to keep in mind as we move forward. And this one is the average number of responses per ticket. So how many times do I have to respond to a ticket before it gets closed? I thought I would see a bit more of a variation across the teams here, because some teams deal more heavily in problems than others, but it tends to average between 2 and 3 responses per ticket on average. And you can see that the performance guys obviously get a bit more involved because they're a bit back and forth with the customer. But again, it's a number. It's sort of useful. We'll see if it matters long term. All right. So overall, we need to work in our speed of initial response, and we're helping that a bit within team operations itself by hiring some people close to our customers. So that should trend down over time, which will be good. We don't have a good handle on our complexity of responses yet because it doesn't really show up in the average. Again, maybe that might show up in median. We're not sure. We'll see if we can come up with a better score on whether we're not answering the simple questions anymore because we don't need to because the product's improving, but we'll see. And obviously the hosted launch has impacted our support numbers. But looking at the overall trend, we are still on track to roughly match the total number of tickets we had last year, which considering how customer base has increased, that's a very good place to be. And that's what we want to see year over year. And that's pretty much it. So quick update on our tickets and let us know if you want any more numbers because we can write custom queries and dig into the data that we have.